Welcome to Mindset Talks Podcast. It's your girls, Cassie,
and Amanda.
and we are here to share our mindsets.
Elevate yours and have some fun while achieving better versions of ourselves. Cassie.
Hey, Amanda.
Girl. I'm so excited for today.
I am too. I'm going to try not to get too weird about it.
Oh, I know. I think we're already there, but that's all good.
Definitely.
But before we jump into the episode, pulse check. How you doing today?
I'm actually doing pretty good today. I am just like per usual, I would say starving as you just couldn't even believe I feel sick. I'm so hungry, but that's just seems to be my MO these days. What
Yeah,
about you?
I'm sure our listeners are used to you starving every episode we record and eating dinner late as shit, but no
Probably, but
big
it's because
deal.
I put you guys first.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah, but if you don't eat, you won't be able to make it to another episode. So you should probably might want to, have a little snack in between. But
Yeah.
anywho, I'm having a pretty decent day today. So today feels more elevated than I have been for the past few weeks. So
Good.
I'm taking that and I'm running with it.
Good. That's what you have to do when you're in those moments. You really just gotta embrace it and go with it.
Hmm. So can we just jump straight to the excitement?
We can, because I don't think I
Jump
can hold
straight to the
off for too
excitement.
much longer.
Do you want to tell them or should I tell them?
Um, so I'll start just because I
Okay.
can't help myself. And
Okay.
so for all of our listeners who have been dedicated with us so far, you will know that this is the first time that we are having a guest with us, and
Guest speaker,
we
guest
are
speaker.
so weirdly excited about it. And so I will
Yes.
let Amanda do the honors of who it is.
So, our guest today is actually one of our dear friends, Crystal. She is someone who has experienced the same as Cassie and myself of losing a parent at a young age. And, she's our younger friend within our group. So she has experienced this at an age younger than Cassie and I have.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So we're just really honored to have her on this episode. Crystal, you want to say hello to our listeners and viewers?
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Of course, of course. I know it's not necessarily going to be an easy topic that we're really going to be talking about today, but we do appreciate you being able to come out of that comfort zone or be in your uncomfortable zone and still speak with us. So
Yes,
thank you.
definitely. It's not an easy thing to ever talk about, really. Well, if you're more on my spectrum of things, I would say. So thank you so much. It is definitely appreciated. And I hope that it touches or reaches to somebody in some way.
Yeah, I'm so happy that you guys asked me to do this because, there wasn't, other than you two, there aren't a lot of people that lose their parents so young. So there's not a lot of people to talk about it with. So it's
Yeah.
nice to have a podcast like this where people can listen and, get something out of it. Like, I think what you guys are doing is absolutely amazing.
Thank
So
you.
kudos to y'all.
Yes, thank you so much. That actually means a lot.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
I'm over here cheesing hard as hell.
Same.
Same.
Really appreciate that. So, how old were you when you lost your mom?
I was 23. I had just turned 23.
Wow.
Mm, that's really hard. I mean, gosh, you're just getting out of high school, and going into the adult life. What so do you mind giving a little back history on the situation? Like kind of how it came to happening?
No, not at all. So my mom got hit by a car when she was 9 years old, and that's ultimately what caused her death. Um, she had a serious TBI, and it triggered all of this, like, I don't know, like health issues for her. She was deemed partially paralyzed on her right side, so
Mm,
she wasn't able to do a lot of things that you would normally be able to do.
right.
So it hindered her a lot, and unfortunately, it made other things happen for her, which are like, I don't know, it's just like she would fall a lot and
Mm.
that would cause like more injuries. And it was just like more on top of more injury on top of
Mm-hmm.
injury. And it ultimately ended up to her death. So I kind of
Gosh.
grew up with it.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that was like, I don't know, not like normal, but that was just like my mom.
Yeah, that's your
But
normal.
right. But to other people, it's just like, oh my God, is there anything I can do to help? Like when we were out in public because they seen her struggling.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just like, I don't know.
It's like,
I
no,
feel
she
like,
got it. Like, we got it. This is what we do.
right. Like that was just like her life. And for somebody who was dealt that hand, she did very, very well with it. I mean, my
Your mom
mom
was a
was,
trooper.
yeah, full of spirit. I mean, my mom had like no haters,
No.
Aw.
and anyone that met her loved her, and she would tell
Yes.
you how it is. And I mean, you appreciated it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your mom always I always have good memories with your mom. So for those of you listening and watching, Crystal and I actually grew up as next door neighbors. So uh, we've known each other since, you know, we were in like grade school, middle school. So we go way, way back. And her mom, even though, she had some, physical disabilities, was a freaking firecracker.
Oh my God, yeah, she was.
But, you know, that probably made her stronger
It really
as a
did.
person,
And
you
honestly,
know?
it made me who I am today.
Yeah,
Like without her being the way she was, I would not be who I am.
that's true.
Yeah, I think that's pretty awesome too, and it shows like so much about her as a person and like her character because when you're put in those kinds of situations, it can go either way, right? Like you can either like succumb to like all of like the sadness and like, the things that like you can't do, or you can be on the other side of the thing of, of your mind and just kind of like put a positive spin on it and make life, the best that you can. And that shows like such a strong like mindset and a strong person to be able to actually do that. And I find that that's so feel like that's really cool.
That really is.
I agree.
Aw. So let us know if, things are too much because, like Cassie said, we all take these topics differently. And, it's not easy to talk about. But I'm sure asking is crazy, but do you remember the day when everything happened of losing your mom?
Yeah, so I kind of just woke up and I had a series of missed calls. I, all right, let me rewind. So my family lived in Connecticut, but I lived in Virginia.
Hmm.
Mm.
So my dad and my sister were kind of like the ones that were taking care of my mom. I mean, she was in a convalescent home, and then she was finally released and home for maybe a month and a half before I got the phone call.
Mm.
So I woke up to a series of missed phone calls and text messages. And instead of calling back right away, I read the text message because I'd rather send a text than
Call.
call.
Yep.
Yeah.
Same here.
So
Yep.
I will ignore a phone call and then text you back, hey,
Yeah.
what's up? What do you
Girl, you
need?
still do.
Right? Like who doesn't?
I do the
So
same thing.
I checked my text messages and my dad said, Mom, 911. And a little background information on my dad. He makes jokes about things that should not be a joke.
Mm.
Mm.
So I thought, Mom, 911, oh, it's probably something so minor, so little, but my
Hmm.
dad is just trying to be funny about it.
Mm.
Right.
So I texted him back and was like, what's wrong? And then my sister called me like immediately after I sent that text message, and she kind of was like, "Hey, mom died." And that's kind of like, she didn't
Mm.
ease into it or
Oh,
anything. My sister
right.
was super, super blunt about it.
Oh,
Yeah.
So,
gosh.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, it really, I mean, she told me before she said it, she told me to sit down. And I told her I was laying down already. She's like, "Well, I need you to sit down." I was like, "Well, I don't know how much more sitting I could do if
Right.
I'm laying
Right.
down." And then that's when she kind of just like hit me with it. But
Okay.
um I did break I did break down,
Of
but
course.
Yeah, of course.
I kind of knew that it was going to happen.
Mm.
Um, I can't remember if it was you or Amanda or if I was talking to somebody else, but I want to say it was you
Hmm.
when your mom had passed away and I was there for those few weeks. I
Yep.
saw my mom and I had said that I don't think she's going to last much longer.
Yeah, I
Mm.
remember.
So I just like started mentally preparing myself. I mean, I've always mentally prepared myself for it just because at a
Yeah.
really young age, I realized that, she could just die at any moment. I mean, I
Yeah.
remember being in the seventh grade and being told that my mom only had 2 weeks to live
Damn.
Oh.
because her lungs were filling up with fluids, and
Mm.
um, she had something happen to her way before I was even thought of. But she got strangled and she had reconstructive surgery on her throat. And unfortunately, the person that did the surgery
Hmm.
connected like two pipes wrong, I guess. Food was
Oh,
traveling into her lungs.
Oh,
oh
wow.
no. She was
So,
aspirating.
right.
Oh,
And they weren't sure that she was going to pull through the surgery, and she did. So
yeah.
I was able to spend another almost like 20, almost, no, not 20, almost
Like,
10 years with her,
Yeah.
right.
because that
Good.
happened when I was like 12 or
Oh,
13, and then
yeah.
she died 10 years later.
Right.
But I mean, I'm thankful for those 10 years.
Oh,
Right.
absolutely. Right.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Oh,
But that day, I mean, I just packed my car up and came home, and it was like, it was weird being back home without her here.
right. Because your parent, like, we all think, I mean, I know your case was a little different, but most think their parents aren't going to go until they're like elderly.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, oh, we usually have some time to prep, or, there's usually like a very, very, very clear indicator that something's going to happen soon, but
Hmm.
you don't always get that benefit of the doubt.
No, but I think it's interesting too to touch on the point that you made, Crystal, about how you kind of like knew or like felt it was coming soon. Were there like certain things your mom was like dealing with that like made you have that feeling, or it was just kind of like something that you just like, I don't know, like randomly like felt?
So my mom has been a fighter her entire life. I mean, she's proved that from since she was 9. She
Mm-hmm.
just has fought. And the last time I saw her was the beginning of July, and I just was sitting in the room with her, and I'm just like, I knew she had given up. I mean,
Gotcha.
she's
Uh,
fought since she was 9 years old.
A long
That's
time.
a lifetime, yeah.
Yeah.
right.
So I just knew.
Gotcha.
And as much as it like made me sad, I like, you get tired.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I get tired from watching my kid all day.
Right.
Like, I can't imagine dealing with what she had to deal with and like pushing through all those years.
Right. Raising
Yeah.
2 kids.
Right. And she was a great mom. I mean, when I was little, she did not let her handicap hold her back at all. I mean, she would
No,
walk
she
with
Awesome.
didn't.
me. She would play with me, like do things that
Yes.
I do with Colson, and I'm like winded. and she did it with like a bad like half of her body. Like I
Right.
can't imagine. My mom's a trooper. Like
Yes.
I can't.
Oh
I
my
can't
gosh. You gotta
even.
forever live in that spirit.
Right.
You need to share some of that. It's like, Mom, I need a little bit of that because this
I know.
boy
I
got
wish
me
I knew her
tired.
secret. I wish I knew her secret.
Right.
I wish
Perseverance is what it sounds like.
she drank a lot of coffee. I swear we used to make jokes saying that she used to spike her coffee. She was a closet drinker because there's no way.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Wow. So like how how did you and how are you coping with that? Because, you know, your mom passed a few months after my mom, so in 2018, so it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. And I know I think about your mom and my mom all the time. I mean, it's almost daily.
Yes, those
And
two
it
together.
best of friends. Like your mom gave my mother like such a gift, like her friendship, because my mom didn't have a
Oh.
lot of people to
Yeah,
like talk to, and
hang
your
at the
mom would come over,
house.
right? And your mom would come over and just like my mom would instantly light up.
Yes. And they would talk a whole bunch of shit together.
Right.
Oh my gosh. And we're
That's what
like,
made them great.
uh we're like, we gotta get out of here because they were here ganging up on us. Like
Right.
but it was great. Yeah, my mom would also like, yeah, I love when they would go over to the school together. My mom would help your mom get her exercise in and, like just spending time together. And then the irony of the two of them passing within months of each other was so weird.
Yeah.
I believe everything happens for a reason
That's
because
true.
I mean, your mom passed away and then my mom passed away, and I feel like it has brought us a lot closer.
This is true.
And I feel like it also, like, if it was going to happen, I'm glad it happened when it did, because if I had lost my mom, like, I don't know, years after you did, we would
Hmm.
have been on two different levels.
Yeah, that's true.
You would have understood where I was coming from, but you're healed, not like healed because you can never heal from that,
Right.
but
On a different level, though.
you're
Yeah.
like better at coping with it. But since it
Hmm.
happened so close, we were able to like almost like lean on each other
Oh, for sure.
and
For
like
sure.
talk about it. And I feel like that helped tremendously.
Girl, this is what we all here for.
Right.
We
It's
have to
helpful.
take care of each other.
And that's
Yeah.
why I'm glad you guys have this podcast, because not a lot of people have that luxury. Not that it's a luxury, but like
But the
have someone
support,
that,
yeah.
yeah, not a lot of people have that support. So,
It's
like,
Yeah.
true.
this podcast was needed.
Thank
Oh.
you. Right, because it's like you can't just kind of go and talk to any old person about it. Like, sure, you can talk to like a 60-year-old person who's lost their parent, but it's not the same feeling as being a person who's under 30 and losing your parent.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the general basis of it is the same, but like how it affects your life is different.
Definitely, yeah. And I know I talked about it before too, but like I had to reach out to people at work because like I didn't know anybody that had lost a parent because unfortunately, I lost my dad before you guys experienced that.
Mhm.
And I just know it, I feel like for me too, it hit a lot harder first when I found out about your mom, Amanda, and then right after that when I found out about your mom, Crystal. I'm pretty sure I cried about both of them because my heart just like broke, like knowing that like
Right.
I just went through that and now two of my friends like are
Going through the
going through the
same.
same thing. Like that shit was so like devastating. It's like
Right.
you don't ever I don't wish that on like anybody. I don't want anybody to have to experience that. And
Right.
it's just I don't know, it's weird that it all kind of happened like
In such short time.
yeah,
It
very
happened like
weird.
one after the other. It
Right.
was really weird.
It's like
Yeah,
you felt like you got a moment to breathe, but you really didn't.
Right.
exactly.
Man. So one thing I feel like Cassie and I both really wondered about is you're a mom. Like, you're a mom now. And, you know, you've gone through being pregnant and having a baby and now raising a baby without your mom around. Like, how do you feel like that has impacted you? Like, anything that has made it harder or, I know you never had a child before either, so it's just a new experience and all.
So it kind of goes back to everything happens for a reason. Because if my mom never passed, I wouldn't have my son.
That's
I
true.
wouldn't have met my fiance. I wouldn't have, like, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. So it's kind of like bittersweet. It's kind
Hmm.
of like, oh, I lost somebody that was ultimately my number one person in my life to I don't have them anymore, but now I have another person that is now the most important person in my life.
Right. A new number
Yeah.
one.
And it's weird
Right.
how things like that, like, shift in the universe. It's like, I don't know, it's very weird. I've had a similar situation too, so it's not with baby, but, like, with things, like, taking place of, other things, and it's just weird how it, like, all aligns. I don't know. It's very weird.
Yeah, I never really, I mean, you always hear everything always happens for a reason, but I never really like had something in my life happen to me where I was like, wow, this happened for like a reason. Like
Mm.
Mhm.
where things lead up to something that you're like, wow, like this happened for a reason. Like I've never experienced that until my mom passed and I met my fiance and I had a kid. And I tell him all the time when we talk about my mom, because I mean, I talk about her often,
Yeah.
especially since I have a kid and I want him to know that he has a grandmother that he'll never meet, but is always watching him and always
Aw.
looking down at him
Just
and
gave me
he
chills.
he does things that I mean, I just think of my mom, like the faces this kid makes. I'm just
Oh
like,
man.
wow, you look just like your grandmother.
Ah,
Like I have this
so
side by
awesome.
side photo and I'm just like, Colson, you look exactly like your grandmother.
Gosh. That
That's
sounds
so
hard
cool, but
too, though.
right, yeah, like it's like so many mixed emotions around that.
Yeah, I don't
It is.
that'd
I
be
mean, I cry about this often.
I was gonna
So,
say,
Oh,
I would too.
um, especially when I have like really good times with my fiance's parents. They're great grandparents. I mean, for not having my parents around for my son, they like overcompensate. Like they are like the best human beings I've ever met. And I'm
that's
so
so
thankful
sweet.
to be a
That's
part of their
awesome.
family.
That's
They love Colson, love him.
yes, they do. Like I be seeing it on Facebook. Like I be getting more pictures from his grandma on that side than I see from you. I be like, she be
Oh,
on them
yeah,
pictures, but I know you don't post him as much either. But
for
like
that
you
reason, because I don't
see,
need to.
well, yeah, yeah, it's already being done for you. But like
Right.
the joy, like even like hanging out around y'all and stuff like that, like the joy they have around this baby is like everything. Like
That's so
he's not
awesome.
like he's missing out because he hasn't, you know, he doesn't have the chance to experience Crystal's mom on Earth, but they like she said they overcompensating over there.
Like my kid lights up when he sees them. Like it's the cutest thing and they're so great with him. I
Oh,
mean, I wouldn't want any other grandparents for him other than
right.
my mom if she could be here, but I mean, they're amazing.
That's so awesome. I mean, that's definitely like a good deal too,
Yeah.
to not have your mom here and knowing that she's an awesome grandma for him, you know, to get them in exchange as the other side for grandparents. I feel like that's
Yeah.
very fortunate.
It's gotta be really comforting too, you don't have to worry
Mm,
about the whole, like, stigma of, like, evil evil, like,
grandparents.
mother-in-law, yeah.
Right,
Right.
right.
No, I
Oh,
hang out with her. I mean, we were just talking about it on Thanksgiving and we were talking about like her kids' significant others, and she was like, "Well, I spend the most time with Crystal, so I guess she's my favorite." And I mean, I love Jen. She's like the best person.
that's so
Aw,
sweet.
that's
She's
awesome.
definitely a great like bonus mom.
Yeah,
I
that's
love that.
true. I like that terminology for that. Bonus
Yeah.
mom. Forget in law, like
Right?
bonus mom.
That's true. I
You
like
know?
that.
I feel like she's not even old enough to be an in law anyways, Like I feel that's like
No,
an older person terminology.
she's not even in her 50s yet.
No,
Oh,
she's
wow.
really not. Yeah, no, she's young. Like, she's young.
Okay.
She is
Right.
mad fun though.
Which is great because then she can keep up with Colson. I mean,
There you go.
she's down on the ground. Both of them, Jamie and her, they're both down on the ground
Oh
and
my
playing with
gosh.
Colson. And I'm just like, thank God for y'all
Yes.
because
Right. Because they really be making me think of like those memes you see when people are like talking to the babies and playing with the babies, and the babies just looking at them like, I don't really know what you're saying. And like, but I just see like that happiness in them. Like they just be tearing it up with Colson. So like, is there like anything you would think that is the hardest of being a mom without your mom? Like any specific things?
I mean, just like not having her here for the special moments.
Mm-hmm.
Like his first birthday was great. Everyone that was here was all the people that we love.
Mm-hmm. Minus one.
But like,
Two.
right,
Minus two. Minus
right,
two. Me and your
but
mom.
right. But like, I don't know, you see like the support that you have and yeah, like losing a parent is hard and knowing that they're not here is hard, but like having the support that I have is just like it makes it easier.
Mm,
But like at the end of the day, when everybody leaves, it's like you think about it and you're just like, wow, like I know my mom's probably watching, but like it would have been nice to have her here.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like have a picture of them. That's why I was so adamant on I'm not on like I wouldn't say me and my Nana are close. We used to be, but not so much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But before she moved to Virginia, I wanted to get a picture of Colson and her together
Oh, of course.
Mm.
because I don't have very many photos of him with my family.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that just meant everything to me. And
Yeah.
especially with like, because that was my mother's mother. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, I couldn't have a picture of my mom and him. So I was like, I need like something of like, I don't know,
Closer
something to
value.
show him when he's older.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Like
true.
this is your Nana, like this is my mom's mom. Like you met her when you were like, I don't know, like 7, 6 months old.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like good memories to like look back on. And that's what I think is hard, is that he's
Mm,
never gonna experience that.
Yeah.
yeah.
He's never gonna like be able to look at pictures with him and his grandmother
Mm-hmm.
or just like recall a time where he spent time with her because she's gone.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
feel like anybody with kids that have lost a parent go through that. And especially when you're female and you're giving birth, and it's like you kind of wish that like your mom was there. Cause I mean, you see it in TV, in movies.
Right.
Like you always like think like, oh, my mother's gonna be there.
Yeah. Yep.
So that was kind of hard, but I have like I said, I have a bonus mom, so she did everything she could to like make me feel kind of like that presence, like that motherly presence.
I love
Mm.
that.
Mad
But
respect
like,
to her.
Yeah.
right, she's a saint. She's a saint.
She is.
And actually, speaking of that, so I think it was the night of Colson's birthday party. We were all downstairs. Um, Colson was in bed, but we were all downstairs drinking because Zach has a new bar down there, so he's really hyped about it.
Yes.
So uh, he always texts his friends, "Bar's open," but his mom was down there. We were all down there, and we were all like having a good time. It was his family and me and my sister, and she Jen was looking at me and my sister, and then she just like randomly asked, do you think your mother would like me?" And
Oh.
I kind of like, I don't know, I never thought that she like thought about my mom before.
Mm.
So I was kind of like taken back by it,
Yeah.
but
Right.
it kind of felt good to like know that she's thinking of my mother and like she would want to meet that she wanted to meet her if she was still alive, and that she
Wow.
like really like wanted to know if my mom would like her, and I'm just like, yeah, like my mom would have loved you.
Oh,
Like,
Right. Your mom's probably praising her right now for
right.
helping out where she can't.
yeah. I love this lady.
Right. Like the fact that she even thinks about that, like, just makes her even better. Because, like, you do wonder what other people think sometimes. And for her to just literally vocalize that and ask,
Right.
like, she really cares about you so much.
Yeah, that's awesome. Not everybody has that kind of bond either. I think that's pretty cool.
Right.
Right. Dang,
Like
girl.
I've been in past relationships and I had never like I was so awkward around like my past boyfriends like mothers. Like
Mm.
I mean,
Aren't
I
we
spend
all?
time with
I
them,
think
but
it'd be
like
intimidating.
right, but I mean, they just make it so easy. Like I literally feel like family. And before Zach even proposed, they were already introducing me to everybody as their daughter-in-law. And
They
I've
knew,
heard Jamie said like, "Oh, I have three daughters," rather than
Aw.
just his biological two.
which is awesome. And
So,
he's freaking hilarious too. So,
oh yeah, I love that man.
dynamic duo, these two.
Yeah.
Jen and Jamie, dynamic duo.
They really are. Like I tell Zach all the time, I'm like, I strive to be them, and he was like, "Yeah, until you like live with them and know how they really
Right.
are." And I was like, "I know, but I'm sure they're hilarious." Like,
Right. Oh my gosh.
I
Oh
don't know,
my
especially Zach's
gosh.
dad. He's the greatest. He always like does whatever he can to make Colson laugh, and like, oh, that just means the world to me because hearing that little boy laugh is probably the best thing
Mhm.
that has
Oh,
ever happened to me.
Aw, I'm sure.
I bet. Right. Seriously. And it just it just keeps you in the present. Because sometimes we just need to stay in the present.
Yeah, definitely. Which actually my last question for you would be so like for me, I even to this day, 4 years later, I have a really hard time with dealing with everything that's happened. And this is the first time this podcast is really the first time I've ever talked about it. Do you feel like for you that you've like coped like I don't know, like good enough if that's like a certain way to put it? Like do you feel like you have dealt with it in like an appropriate way that works for you or do you feel like you still like haven't dealt with it if I'm making sense?
So I would say that losing a parent, it never gets easier, but the coping gets better. Like,
I
I
like
feel
that.
like
Yeah. I'll write that down.
losing my mom was hands down the hardest thing I've ever had to deal with. And as time passes, I mean, it gets hard because you want them there, you miss them, like you had them your whole life and then all of a sudden they're just gone. And
Mm,
it's
Mhm.
like you want to call them and tell them like, "Hey, like this is what happened to me today," or "Hey, just checking in, like I love you."
Yeah.
preach.
And then it's like you don't have that anymore. So I would say it gets harder, but like as time goes on, you cope with it better. Like I'm nowhere near where I was in 2018 when it had just happened. Like I was like almost like a child. I was acting out. Like I was
Mm.
doing things that I would never do now. And I like it's almost like I don't know, losing my mom, I feel like has almost humbled me in a sense because it made me like take a step down and like realize what you have in front of you.
Mm,
I
Definitely.
mean, I didn't really tell the people that I care about that I love them. And now I tell my friends and my sister and I say I love you every time we hang up the phone
I love it.
Yep, that
because you
is
never know when you're going to not be able to say that again. And you want to be able to say, like, this is when I said I love you last. And this is when I this is when they died. Like, you want it to be close. Like,
Right.
when I lost my mom, I thought I was moving back to Connecticut to take care of her. So I wasn't really in touch with her like I should have been. I went before she passed away. The last time I spoke to her was in August, and she passed away in September.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I regret that every day of my life, because I wish there's so many times where I could have just called her up and asked her how she was doing,
Right.
or just to tell her I love her.
Yeah.
And I didn't do that. So it definitely put things in perspective. I'm sure my son's going to get annoyed with me when he gets older, because every time he looks at me, I swear I tell him I love him. And with my fiance, we'll hang up the phone, and 10 minutes later, I'm texting him that I love him.
Aw.
So
Aw.
I just feel like some good came out of it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not taking the people that are in my life for granted, that, like, oh, just because they're young, they're going to be here for another, like, 40, 50 years. Because
Right.
my mom
Right.
died when she had just turned 50 when she
Oh,
passed
wow.
away. Her birthday was in July, and she died in September.
That's even younger than
So
ours.
Yeah,
Jeez.
definitely. That's crazy.
so you never know when something random like that can happen. And I know that's such a cliche to say, like, oh, you need to tell the people that you love that you love them and you care about them, because you know, you just went through like a death. But like, it's so true. Like,
It is.
losing my mom made me realize that, like, you need to, like, have relationships with people that you love,
Yeah.
so you don't regret it when you don't have them anymore.
Yeah,
That's true.
definitely.
You're
And
over here dropping gems, girl.
She is.
Dropping gems. She said it doesn't
you.
get easier, but you cope better. That stuck with me. I just want to share that with everyone. That just stuck with me heavy.
Can I tell you that I wrote notes and none of this was in my notes? So I'm impressing myself.
That's what happens.
Listen, this podcast brings out sides of you that you don't even know you be having.
Definitely.
Right. So if you guys ever need a guest speaker again, hit a girl up.
Yes, you know you're more than welcome to come back.
Definitely.
Yes.
This is not the one and only time, so be ready.
It definitely isn't.
Oh, I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
Yo, I love this. Do you have any more good gems to be dropping for our listeners and our viewers?
I would say, if you're in a point in your life where you're really busy, you're working a lot, and you feel like you just don't have time, you need to make the time, because
Are you
you're
talking
not.
to me?
I mean, it's funny because I'm thinking about you when I'm saying this, but
This is like tea.
but like, you need to, like, you don't live to work.
This is
You
true.
work to
Listen up.
live. And you need to enjoy your life, because you only get it once. And it goes by fast. Like, I feel like I just popped my kid out and he's already a year old.
I was gonna
Right.
say, I was like just at his baby shower. Is he really one already?
Right.
Yes.
And like, having a kid makes you realize that, like, you need to take a step back, because you're gonna miss out on what life has to offer if you're just working so hard all the time. And you're gonna miss those moments with your parents and your kids and even your friends. Like, your friends are family. Like, sometimes more than your own family.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh yeah.
So, like, take that time. You have time off for a reason. Take it.
Take it. You better
Call in
take it.
Right.
Call in
Preach,
sick
Crystal.
and just have a girl's day. Like, please.
Sorry, boss. Need to get my
Amanda.
nails done. Hey, damn girl.
Right.
Got my
She
nails done
is
today.
coming at you today.
Yo, I love it. Like this episode still has me so hyped. Like,
I know.
so hyped. Like,
I haven't stopped smiling this whole time, so.
girl, us too.
Right. You'll look at the video later and be like, damn, they really are choosing my hard.
Right? Yeah, like you can barely see my eyes.
That's how you know it's serious.
Hell yeah.
When the
Oh
eyes are
my
like slivers.
gosh. Yes. Can you see me? I can't see you.
That's chic.
Anyways, let me reel it in. Oh my gosh. Does anyone have any last words before I just give a big thanks to Crystal being on this episode with us?
I do not at the moment.
Oh, Crystal, you got
I
anything
just want
else?
to thank you guys again for having me and letting me like I don't know talk about this and hopefully like my story helps somebody else.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing your story.
Yes,
Like we
Yeah.
thank
said,
you.
it's
It's
not
not
Yeah.
easy.
easy.
And sorry if I jumped around a lot. I had like ADHD, so if
Oh.
I didn't answer your questions like fully, like I
Oh,
apologize.
you're good. We'll just bring you back for another episode and be like,
Right.
so these questions that you didn't answer, bitch, what you
Right,
got?
that's fine. I'm totally fine with that. We can have a
Exactly.
part two. Part two.
Yes.
I'm ready for it.
Guess Crystal, part two.
Right.
Oh, well, thank you everyone for tuning in to us again. We definitely had a lot of fun in this episode, and we
Mhm.
definitely hope you laugh and just enjoy it and learn something new because, like I said, we had some gems that were dropped.
Definitely. And it's nice to see someone else's perspective, which is completely different, but there are a lot of similarities too. So I think that's interesting to kind of like think about in, things that happen after you lose somebody.
Absolutely. So, my people, keep in mind, you get time off of work for a reason. We keep good vibes only and make sure to take care of yourselves and those that you love. We hope you
Yes.
have a great day.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.